welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. The energy is great in the gym.
We're here.
We're here. We're thrilled to be here. They threatened storms on us today, but Beans, there were no storms.
Tornadoes are scared of
We
me.
are the storm.
Yes.
I can't really back that up, but let's just pretend it's true.
I can. They don't like me. Tornadoes don't like me. They're scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
They hear they're coming my way and they go the opposite direction.
One of the most frustrating X-Men characters to be has to be Storm, because you're just, how do you moderate your abilities? It's just huge all the time. As soon as you're like, all right, I'm going to tap into the storm powers, where he's like, well, crap.
Yeah.
There's no moderation available. Great in a tight spot, right? When you're in need of the big guns, but it's kind of like that baseball player that's swinging for the fences every single time. It's like, that's all you got. Can you get us a base hit here? Nope. We're swinging big. It's like, this is not the right fit for that scenario. I feel like that'd be frustrating.
I mean, she's an Omega level mutant for a reason.
Right.
She is. She's strong. Yeah, it makes you wonder the amount of control. And then the other thing I was just thinking about, that they never really, well, to my knowledge, I don't know Storm well enough, but when she changes the weather, does it stay that way, or does it go back to the way it was when she's done?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or does she have to take the time and energy to then disperse it once again? Because I feel like that would consume a lot of mental, fatigue,
Yeah. There have been, right or wrong, for better or for worse, and sometimes it's been a bit of both. There has been a lot of energy and effort made to get very granular with how various characters and their power sets function, to really explain the why. That has never been the case with Storm. Never. Everybody who's ever written that character has just been like, all right, she controls the weather. We're just gonna stay up here with that. We're going to stay at the 10,000 foot view. We're not getting granular as to, now, how does she do it? Is she changing the molecules in the air, and that's what turns into different weather? You know what I mean?
I would be annoyed by that, honestly.
Right.
It might be...
It's the best.
Yeah. Can you just imagine, a former meteorologist just starting to write the character of Storm, and that's the focus that he has, is the way that her powers actually work?
I mean, this is low-hanging fruit, but think about how many times and how, frankly, unnecessarily detailed Superman's power set has gotten. Where it's like, all right, he absorbs the power of the sun. Well, you got to think about how his skin is structured and how close he is to the sun, and how, really how focused is the sun's energy at this point. It just gets unnecessarily
much too much
granular,
much too much thought.
So I think it's, in this case, a win to have it be fairly abstract. She just does, comics.
There needs to be a balance. I don't get me wrong, I love limits and that, but if it comes down to, every minute it is different, and you know what I mean?
Hasn't she been able to partner up with Thor? Why hasn't that happened? That's the most obvious tag team ever. Okay, but just as a,
because she's been the goddess of thunder for a little bit.
What?
Yeah, she has her own hammer.
I have Storm?
Yeah, she gets her own hammer for a little bit.
I believe you, and I've totally missed this.
Yeah, you can Google it right now.
I
believe her hammer is called Stormbreaker, but you need to double check me on that.
Okay, it's been in the What If.
No, I'm pretty sure it's main line.
I've got AI is telling me it's...
AI is AI.
The robots are saying...
I'm sure What If was probably the original, but I'm pretty sure it's happened.
Well, good grief. If I just thought of the idea, then it's been thought of by others and executed by others. Okay. Loki made Storm the goddess of thunder in an attempt to embarrass Thor. Okay.
So Secret Wars, she becomes it for a little bit. She is currently... Let me see here. Storm past got started at one of her lowest moments. New Mutants. In 1985. They landed in Asgard.
That was before I was born. Doesn't count.
I'm just telling you, it's been done and it's been brought back.
I'm just saying it...
sounds like you need to go read
I must need to go read some more comics. Actually really enjoy where I was going with this is a duo, a tag teaming of where it's Thor and Storm just going out, kicking ass, taking names.
Just the two of them.
Because think of how just frustrated Thor would be that someone else has powers that are remarkably similar to his own. And she doesn't need the hammer.
It's true.
Whereas he does. The inadequacies that would reveal.
Because
much fun.
I think in the most recent Avengers run, she took Thor's place on the Avengers. Like, he went out and he's like, yeah, you're going to be the next me, essentially. Because he's like, I got to go deal with stuff in Asgard.
Yeah.
You're going to take my place.
Right.
And she's like, okay.
Right.
And then she gets the hammer back.
Sure. Okay. I feel really good about this. I'm going to choose to feel good about this. Yeah, I'm happy. That's really fun.
It's badass. She looks badass.
Hey, that's where I was going with this. I was trying to give props to Storm.
Storm is a badass character.
She is.
Does not get enough credit, not enough hype.
No.
For the love of God, can we get Halle Berry back in Secret Wars as Storm? Once again.
I'll send a note.
One final time. I'd love that.
Wouldn't we all? Well, it's great to be here, Beans. That was a fun little segue into Nothing Land, but who cares? That's what we do. So it's great to be here for episode 103. We have Thunderbolts on the horizon. And so
we're cooking.
We're cooking.
Gas.
We are cooking with gas. We are back really into the first real freaking summer of movies in years. So
it's great.
Let the enthusiasm flow. It's fantastic. Thunderbolts is just days away. So we're pumped to dive into that bad boy. That's going to be so much fun.
And then 2 movies in July.
I know, 2 movies in July.
We're going to be booked.
And in the meantime, we have a lot of great content to dive into, beg pardon, as well. So today we'll talk about Thunderbolts, have our preview of who will live, who will die. There's definitely one character that's dying, and
I can't wait.
It's probably all that matters.
We will dance on her grave.
Yeah.
Or his grave. No spoilers, it's a her.
Correct.
This is not a hard one to figure out.
We have all kinds of news and notes to get into. Andor has begun. Season 2, its second and final season. So we'll touch base on that show, in particular, its unique release structure, because I think it's worth discussing. We will have a mash up of JP's point of view and Bean's beef. Today's topic will be, why on earth do people who don't enjoy the IP get put in charge of the IP? So we'll spend some time bringing up various examples that frankly frustrate us. And of course, we will wrap things up with another classic, JP and the Beans Top 5. So buckle thy seatbelts. The Thunderbolts are barreling towards us. Let's dive right in, okay? Real quick here, little cast and director rundown. So the director, Jake Schreier, never heard of the guy. Never heard of him. Part of his filmography is littered with music videos, which I acknowledge that's a thing. That takes real craftsmanship, and it's not a full-length feature film. He did have a directing credit on one of the episodes in the most recent Skeleton Crew series that dropped late in 2024. But his filmography, I just haven't seen or frankly heard of most of it. So I am fascinated to see where they pulled this guy from, and excited for him to potentially have a come up. Right? Yeah. Could be fun for Jake.
Also, there's going to be jams in this movie then. There's going to be absolute jams for music. Absolutely. If this guy has only been doing music videos, he knows how to clip things to music.
Yep, he's collaborated with Kanye on a number of occasions. And your girl Selena Gomez.
Even better. Well, what song?
Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco, Younger and Hotter Than Me, which I can relate to. That's the story of my life.
It's fine. I'll get over it.
So anyway, our guy Jake, we hope this goes well for you, Jake, in all sincerity. So good luck, brother. All right, let's run through the cast real quick. By now it should be well known, but we'll bust through the most notable folks. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova. Lewis Pullman as Robert Reynolds. Hannah Jean Kamen as Ava Starr, a.k.a. Ghost.
I'm not going to say thank you. I needed that.
Yep. And I should backtrack here to old Bob Reynolds.
Sentry.
Yep, Sentry, a.k.a. The Void. So fun to see Lewis in there.
Void.
Yep. David Harbour is Alexei. I'm going to try and pronounce Alexi's last name. And plus, he only goes by Alexi, so I feel good about that. Wyatt Russell is John Walker, a.k.a. U.S. Agent. Olga Kurilenko as Antonia Dreykov, a.k.a., the one that's not going to make it to the end of the movie. And
she's got a very strong name.
She does. Sebastian Stan, of course, as Bucky freaking Barnes. I just got to say, this is brutal for Olga. Like, she's a good actress. She has a track record of strong work. She deserves better than this. Not her fault.
Not her fault.
Not her fault. Out of that cast, let's just dive into it. Listen, Olga's dead. She's gone.
Yes, we are going to watch the Taskmaster, the new Taskmaster, die. Now, I will say, they gave her a nice little revamp. Mm-hmm. The new costume looks 10 times better. Very much of a nod, I believe, to the Ultimate Universe's Taskmaster. You'll have to double check me on that. Okay. Definitely less skeletal in the face, or more of like a helmet mask kind of skeleton face. Yeah, she's going to die. Yep. And I am going to be very over the moon excited. And again, nothing to the actress. This is terrible writing and terrible decision making on that part. So this is just going to be somebody that Sentry's probably going to, and by Sentry I mean the Void. The Void is going to tear her. Well, actually, I'm going to predict she's just going to die. It's going to be obliterated.
I was going to say.
Topped right off the map. Poof. They kind of alluded to that in the trailers. That's kind of what the Void does. He just erases stuff. Yeah. I think she's erased. Yeah. And I couldn't be happier. That's the best way to do it, is to take a freaking magic marker, magic eraser, and just gone. Yeah. Never existed, never happened. I would love it if they somehow Doctor Stranged her too, and the whole universe forgot Taskmaster existed. That'd be great.
Wow, that went nuclear really quick. That was great.
That would be just phenomenal. And if you want to know how that I felt this way consistently about this character, go back and watch like episode 3, episode 4. We're 100 episodes into this podcast, and I'm still ranting about how shitty of a character the MCU's Taskmaster is. Okay, this is an abomination.
You have been delightfully consistent on this front. It's been since 2021, because that's how long it's been. Since
Murder her. Murder her. Kill her. I would love it to be way more violent and way more brutal, like her getting ripped in half. It won't happen. It'll be an erasure, okay? But that's what we need. It needs to just be gone, and we need to move on and forget, and I hope no one feels bad at her death. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Well,
I'm done with my
Olga
rant.
Deserves better. But not just Olga, like, the character deserves better. It's like, what the flip are we doing here? This is not the character.
If anybody can give us actual Taskmaster, it is Ryan Reynolds. Yep. And I will leave that to Ryan.
Yep.
It's my only hope. So, anywho.
So, Taskmaster is toast.
Taskmaster's gone.
Yep. Bucky's going to be hanging around.
Bucky will be alive for the foreseeable future. To be honest with you, he's kind of the, cornerstone of the Captain America franchise now.
Yeah.
It was, you can say that because Sam is Captain America, it's Sam. It's not. It's Bucky. Bucky, low-key, keeps that mantle alive and breathing.
Yep.
So he'll be around for a while. And good on him. I love Sebastian Stan as formerly known as the Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier now goes by a new name in the comics. I want to say...
You can't do better than the Winter Soldier.
I agree, but...
What are they taskmastering Winter Soldier for? Do I have to freak out now?
Look it up.
Oh, boy.
I want to say it's like The Revolution.
Oh, gross.
Because he's trying to get past his past. LOL. Because he's no longer Russia's weapon. I wish they would have just went with the White Wolf. That's what they've all been building into the MCU. They're like, I'll call him the White Wolf, and they never do. I would have been cool for the comics. Is it the Revolution?
I'm not coming up with anything right now.
Let me see if I can find it.
You see if you can take.
You go ahead and talk about
Bucky.
We'll
do a little spoilers here. Like, every other member of the cast in Thunderbolts has been released as part of the Avengers Doomsday cast. Now, entirely possible. As we know, the Avengers Doomsday movie is going to get into multiverse shenanigans. So it's not without question or without possibility that some of these Thunderbolt characters could perish, in this movie and be brought back. Just really don't think that's going to happen. I think it's Taskmaster. I don't think any of the other characters die. And this is not, this makes for a much less exciting than Suicide Squad running through that roster. That's a one of one. But truly, I think everybody else comes out in one piece. What do you think?
Firstly, it is Revolution.
Oh, disgusting.
I found it immediately.
Disgusting.
It is Revolution. That is his new code name. It's hilarious. Anywho, that's number one. Number two.
Spare me.
I think you have your locks that are going to stay no matter what. I think Bucky is a lock. I think Florence Pugh's White Widow. Mm-hmm. If she goes by White Widow, that'd be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Who else? Let me pull up the roster on my end. Obviously, nothing's going to happen to Bobby Boy. Sentry's going to be around for a while because that dude is going to be just an unkillable unit.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. David Harbour, I'd say more than likely lives, but he's one that you could off, and it would be that one's your sad death.
Sure.
Like oh no, like your Aunt May.
Yeah.
It's Red Guardian.
I would be very upset.
I would.
Yeah, that would work.
I would
I'd be really upset.
Furious.
Yep.
To be honest with you, but that's where he's at. U.S. agent again. Like that one won't hit. It's not his time to die yet.
Yep. There's a place for that eventually, right?
He will die at some point. This is not the spot.
Yeah, there's a place for that eventually for him to make a sacrifice, but it's not right now.
Ghost, I don't think dies because here's the thing. Her death would do nothing.
I'm very excited for Ghost to not just be in this movie, but to be around because I think her skill set is a lot of fun. It's not overpowered. It takes genuine craftiness to utilize it effectively. And I think that actress has some chops to her. So I would love to see the character of Ghost as portrayed by Anna John Kamen.
And her suit got an upgrade too.
Yeah,
and
that's a good chunk of time.
That's more comic accurate too.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That's a much more comic accurate suit. So that's the one thing they did in this. They gave some people some upgrades, and I kind of dig it.
The suits are terrific.
Yeah,
yeah. The design from what we've seen has looked real strong, really, really strong. And Lewis Pullman, I haven't seen him in a lot yet. Most significantly was Top Gun Maverick a couple years ago. Hilariously, he played a character.
With that movie.
How can you not be? How have you still not seen it? What kind of a friend am I to have allowed you to live this long without having seen it?
Yeah, I'm kind of just not seeing it to just not see it.
You got to see. Okay, that's it. Saul, Dylan, if you're listening, we gotta just tie Riley up, sit him down, have him watch it, let him weep in front of us. We'll weep along with him because it's beautiful. But hilariously, he is in that movie, and his call sign in that movie is Bob. Like
that's
straight
it?
Up B.O.B. Right. So every other pilot in the movie has, Maverick. Good grief. Now I'm blanking all.
Brewster.
Well, yeah. No. Gosh. What are some of the other? They're all just like exceptionally.
Well, the old ones were Iceman and Goose.
Yep. I'm trying to remember the. Lieutenant Admiral. What the flip is his call sign? Regardless. They're going around the room, sharing each other's call signs with each other, and they get to Lewis Pullman's character, like, all right, so who are you? Bob. It's like, no, what's your call sign? It's Bob. That's it. So hilarious tie-in, because now he's playing a Bob.
I would be furious if that was what they gave me. Bob?
Yep.
Everybody else gets cool stuff like that, like Slider and Disco or Tango, maybe. And then I'm losing it already.
Iceman, Cyclone, Phoenix.
Oh my gosh.
Payback.
Yeah, see, those are.
This is the one I was trying to remember. Warlock. Come on.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Come on. That's pretty fantastic. Hondo.
He couldn't
even have your humorous ones like Rooster, okay, or Goose.
But that other
guy. Fritz.
Oh, Hangman's sick too.
Coyote. Halo. Come on.
He couldn't get
Bob.
Rocket.
He gets Bob.
You can get like Rocket or Booster or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, that's lame.
But
I would riot.
It's amazing. But I'm excited to have each of these characters around for what I think is going to be a good stretch of time. Truly. Like this, I remember when the news of this movie dropped a long time ago, and I was entirely lukewarm towards it. Like, why are we doing
both
this?
were.
We both were.
We can go back to that announcement.
My
it was
gosh.
It was. Ugh. We were at your old house, I believe, when that came out.
100%.
Ugh.
Do you think that here's a little bit of a somewhat distant pull? Does Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, does she make it past this movie?
Yeah.
Think so?
Oh yeah. They need a new Nick Fury. They just do. Nick is too busy with the Skrulls and loving on Skrulls. He's got too much with Alien, you know.
Yeah.
So they need a spy kind of character.
Sure.
I think she fills that role.
Sure.
Hey, who else are you gonna put in that? Coulson's been dead for a very long time. Fury's off world. She just kind of fits it.
Yep.
And she actually might go rogue because she has in the past. Yep. So, she's truly a double agent, plays both sides. Right. We didn't really have that with Fury. Fury's more of a, I'm never going to show you my full hand kind of a guy.
Yeah.
She is too, but she's not afraid to put a knife in your back while she's doing it.
She'll just change teams.
Yeah.
Like Fury's always on the same team. You just don't know what he knows because he's not telling you.
He has like 90 different backup plans.
Yep.
She has 3 different doors, and they're all like different sides and options.
Freaking rascal.
Yeah. So I don't think she doesn't die.
All right. So here's the real question then, right? It's a 2 hour and 6 minute movie. That's our runtime.
Yep.
Okay. How deep into the movie till Taskmaster dies? 15 minutes?
Ooh.
2 minutes?
Ooh.
27?
Depends on. I think she's the first sacrifice to Bob for sure. Oof. I think 10, 15 minutes is too quick.
Okay.
I would say I'm going to say 45 minutes.
Okay.
As a safe bet, I think it happens between 30 and an hour because it just depends on when the void takes over and how long they're fighting the void. An hour fighting the void, and that's why it's like, okay, who pulled the void out? Because I feel like there's something else there that we're missing. I don't think he just flips.
Sure.
Because he seems like a genuinely nice guy at first, you know? When comes out, he's like,
Bob,
hey!
you want to trust him.
He's like, hey, I'm Bob.
You want to trust him.
So, there's somebody else pulling the strings. Maybe it's Valentina. Maybe she wants to see how dangerous this guy actually is, so she pokes holes, and then he just deletes Taskmaster off the map. I think it's between 30 and an hour. I'm going to say 45 to be safe.
Okay, I'm going to say 32. I'm going on the shorter end.
And exactly 32.
Exactly 32.
Fine. I will say...
It's fine. 45 is fine. No, live there.
No, I'll say 40. I'll say 48. Okay, because you had to go and add 2 minutes to 30 like an asshole. So I'll go 48.
I regret nothing.
We'll make it unique.
I regret nothing. Yeah, I'm really comfortable with my decision. Aren't you going to feel really dumb when it's...
I'm going to set a timer on my watch.
Minutes. That's going to be close enough.
I'm going to set a timer on my watch. Now that how
32 my butt.
I will say, if she somehow makes that out of that movie alive, wow, we might have to set the theater on fire. Okay, we might just have to. I question all decisions and validity. Like, that's her character at this point is fodder. She's fodder.
Yeah.
Feige's like, I need to plug up every plot hole possible. Okay, plug this one up and kill her. Delete her off the map.
Yeah, she's going to be gone. Here's a great question. All right. Are there any characters that are going to be present in this movie that have been non-existent in the marketing? Like, we getting any cameos? Are we getting any insertions of characters that maybe even have more of a role than just cameo? So obviously Bucky cameoed in the most recent Captain America movie. Okay. It was one of the highlights. So do we have anything in that range of cameo to, oh, well, that's a surprise, and then they're just in the movie with us?
Oh, like actually a part of it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like in the majority of the 2 hour.
Are you saying
movie.
like a Bucky, like 5-10 minutes?
Sure.
See, I think of all the characters that are options, right? Because with Red Guardian and White Widow, you have the mom who's still around. I'm sure she makes an appearance, but who cares?
Let's gotta have at least a mention.
Let's be real. Who cares?
Sure.
You have Goliath being attached to Ghost. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Again, who cares?
Ant-Man wouldn't be.
I don't think so.
Wild. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying it's possible.
It is possible.
Hawkeye?
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's bold.
Mm-hmm.
Sam. I even think Sam, Captain America, is bold here.
Yeah.
I would be, man, if they wouldn't have put Ross in prison, I would have said Ross is perfect to show up. And he still might. Maybe Valentina breaks him out of the raft.
That would be hilarious.
But, like, you know, I don't, that would have been my pull, to be honest with you, that of somewhat significance. But the way they wrapped him up, I'm like, I don't even know if he's going to show up.
Yeah. I don't pretend to have a strong sense of, here's a character that I think is going to be there. This is my hunch. It's more of a curiosity of, they have been about as forthright as you can be with who is going to be present in this movie. Like, I'm not giving them props for this. It's just been a pretty transparent marketing approach, which makes me wonder if there's not another character of significance that's been held back. It's probably not the case. I think that's not a likely outcome, but it's possible.
I will double down on Red Hulk because, let's be real, nobody's stopping Sentry and that group. Mm-hmm. She pulls out Red Hulk for the last, again, 5 minutes, except this one's not advertised.
New York, right? So, like, Doctor Strange.
No, he's off. He's off dimension.
I know, supposedly, but
Spider-Man.
They could bring him back. Yep.
Daredevil.
Yep.
I don't think those guys just make it. Look, Daredevil's not going to do nothing in this one.
No.
Also, you know what? That's a great question, though. You think they drop, like, hey, our mayor, who's a dick, is like, that
would be awesome.
They're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to know where that's at in the timeline with them and Daredevil.
On the no vigilante rule. It's about to get broken.
You just see Kingpin up there and be like, this is why we can't have vigilantes. Look at them. They're deleting people off the planet. I'd be very curious to see if they won't touch it. They're not that old.
They're not that connected right now to be able to. No.
I will double down.
It's amazing.
It's
amazing.
I say the pull of the movie would be Red Hulk. Yep. Valentina breaking him out to use him against the Void.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yep. It's a great guess. I have no qualms with that.
I'm probably wrong.
It'd be a lot of fun to just have a little Spider-Man insertion. It's not going to happen.
I would love it. It's
going to be a lot of fun.
I'm legit. Like,
that'd be my wish.
I don't even think Red Hulk will. He might make an appearance, but that's about it. I don't think it'll be what I just said.
Yep.
That I don't believe myself.
No, but I like your thought process. That's great. Okay. Anything else to touch on with Thunderbolts before we turn the page into ultimately seeing?
Well, it's crazy to think that we have been more excited about this movie than some of the other Marvel content we've gotten in the past. That's all I'll say on it. I'm genuinely surprised, and maybe it's because of Guardians of the Galaxy setting us up to be more open-hearted with these B-list, C-list team movies.
It has, from the outset of its first trailer, felt, and this is the word that I will constantly come back to, so I recognize I overuse this, but it has felt confident. It has felt like it has an identity and is very content and confident in that identity. So it's not trying to be all things to all people all the time. It's trying to be the best version of the Thunderbolts that it can be.
Agreed.
And so I have not high hopes in the sense of this is going to be one of the best movies we've seen, but I think it is going to be very solid. That's my expectation. So I'll be bummed if it's choppy, if it's sloppy. But no, I think it's got every opportunity to really do well.
Agreed. I'm pumped.
It's great.
This weekend can't come soon enough.
Totally agree. All right. Moving on from Thunderbolts, let's dive into another beefy topic. All right. Preview this a little bit at the beginning of the pod. Our question that we've discussed privately and then publicly on the pod is, why on earth? Why? Truly, why? Do individuals with roles of influence in terms of not only what gets made and put into production in terms of TV shows, movies, why do those people who don't enjoy the IP choose to make shows and movies based around that IP? And the examples at this point are growing. Star Wars is perhaps the most obvious, lowest hanging fruit. So we'll touch on that a little bit. The new Harry Potter show that I want to be very excited for keeps dropping casting news that concerns me greatly. It's like, what are we doing? And you brought up a couple weeks ago when we were conversing how Marvel Comics, one of their executives came out and said, you know what? In the comics, we're done with Peter Parker and Mary Jane being a married couple.
Okay. Why? Just being a couple in general, not even married.
Okay. Just done with it in general.
Which is legitimately worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the problem that we're going to dig into each of these examples. The problem is this. It comes back to restructuring at a foundational level these beloved characters and presenting that restructuring as canon, right? Because we have talked recently, as a matter of fact, on the pod
last
about
episode.
That's right, how enjoyable alternate universe takes are, and of course, hey, conclude the story so you can tell a new story. But when you're going to essentially remake the canon as the definitive version of these characters, that's when it becomes a problem, because those characters are enjoyed and beloved for a reason. It's not because they're perfect, it's because they are imperfect, but their imperfections are known, their strengths are known, their weaknesses are known. So really what it comes down to is, listen, just tell new stories with new characters. In other words, create your own IP, or you can branch off, right? Like what Dave Filoni did with Star Wars is one of the best examples of how to do this well, right? He found the right balance of, hey, holding to the canon. He didn't break the canon. He didn't provide a different ending, for example, for an Anakin Skywalker, but he had plenty of room to create his own characters, supplement in their own stories with known and beloved characters. And it was tremendously well done because it was new, and not just new, but well crafted. It was there for the sake of the craftsmanship, not just for the sake of the ching ching, let's make the money, which is what this has turned into, which hilariously enough is a self-defeating enterprise, because when you rework these beloved characters and say, no, this is actually who that character is, you're just the snake that's eating its own tail at that point. You're not making anything productive. You're not presenting anything new. You're just destroying what came before, and you're left with a crumbling pile of ash in your hand, confused, like, I don't understand how this didn't work. So I don't have an answer as to why this keeps happening, but good grief, can it stop, please? Can the folks that are making these shows and making these movies that are in the highest level of influence and authority over, essentially they're the gatekeepers, can they be people that like the characters, please? Like Kevin Feige, for all of his foibles, he's had his misses, but he loves the characters.
Yeah. First things, I want to build off Dave Filoni because perfect example of how it works very well, because to take the original trilogy of Star Wars and the prequels, because whether people like it or not, I know the prequels were not well received at first, those have been turned around for people, I think, and Clone Wars is one of the Clone Wars is one of the prime examples of that. Yeah. I think Revenge of the Sith, the third one, is right. That's the third one. Revenge of the Sith.
You got it.
Arguably one of the best Star Wars movies that we've had.
It's been re-released in theaters this spring,
which is crazy.
Yep. I think it's its 20th anniversary, so pretty fun.
He managed to enhance even that movie because he made Anakin's turn to the dark side even more tragic, which is crazy. He fleshed out characters that we all wish had gotten fleshed out. General Grievous, Darth Maul. Count Dooku got more screen time in Clone Wars. Built the Sith even more. It's incredible what he was able to do. As for why this keeps happening, people need to stop buying the damn thing. Okay? If you don't like it, don't watch it, don't buy it. All right? That's part of the problem.
Simple, isn't it?
Here's the thing with Spider-Man. You want to know why people get away with Spider-Man doing whatever they want? It's because they know people will buy Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's the same with Batman.
Yeah.
You could write a terrible Batman story, but because it's Batman at its core, people are going to go buy the damn thing.
Yep.
So what you need to do is, if you don't like the direction it's going, stop buying it and buy the Ultimate Universe of Spider-Man, which is a married Mary Jane and Peter Parker with 2 kids. And guess what? The son, I think, is rocking Spider-Man as well. So it's a father and son Spider-Man duo. They're both Spider-Man. Crazy! The son has the symbiote. Crazy! Okay? It's crazy how this works, and it works well for that, from what I understand. I haven't read it fully, okay?
Yeah.
So you just gotta stop purchasing it. You know, I don't know if how much Disney Plus, like, loss of subscriptions would actually be affected, because I don't know if you could track specific shows as to losing subscribers. Sure. But they have to have access to their stream rates, because think of The Acolyte. That did not get renewed for a season 2.
For a reason.
Correct?
Correct.
And that had to have been from streaming. So they will listen if you're not paying with money. And that is the thing with consuming. Just stop paying the money to consume it. Show them that it's not worth it.
It's not like you don't have options. As we've discussed, again, ad nauseum on this pod, there are plenty quantity out there. So you don't have to watch the stuff that sucks.
So you have to direct your money to other things. That's why we keep getting crappy stuff, because they've been getting away with it. That's why you won't see a mainline Star Wars movie in theaters for a very long time, because guess what? That new trilogy was terrible. It was.
Yeah, there's no doubt that there's a strong reality of, as fans, we have a lot of influence over what it is that's going to get produced. When you go and pay to see a movie, or you take the time to watch a show on a streaming service, that's an endorsement of that product. It is, because that is what gets them made, is that attention and the money that comes with that attention. Obviously, it doesn't mean that every movie and show that you watch, you're going, I endorse it, even when it sucks, right? But it's a financial endorsement that influences what kind of content continues to get made.
Another prime example of this, I'm going to go to wrestling. WrestleMania 40. The build to WrestleMania 40 was arguably one of the best WrestleMania builds of all time. Yep. Now, how'd that start? Because The Rock came in, overthrew the Royal Rumble winner, which the Royal Rumble winner has the option of picking which top champion they want to fight. And the guy who won it, Cody Rhodes, was going to go after Roman Reigns, the guy who had the belt. After he won it, The Rock just took his spot, essentially, because he's The Rock. He's a chairman on the board. He can do what he wants. Now, the backlash was insane. People made it known that it needs to be Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes needs to finish the story. And guess what happened with all the outrage? Rock turned heel, meaning he went to being a bad guy. He switched the entire story around, and it worked so well, and it made Cody's win even better against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, all right? My point is, you have a voice. Now, this, obviously, they weren't affected by the paycheck, but they were affected by the backlash of the decision. Because everybody wants Roman versus Rock, just not like that. Nobody wanted it like that. Bad timing. Okay? Either way.
Sports are a great comp for this, because they are in their own professional sports. Collegiate sports have become professional sports. It's all under that same umbrella of entertainment, right? And all of these shows, movies, sport franchises, again, even college programs at this point, are battling for your attention and the money that comes with that attention. And so you have all kinds of agency to say no to something that's not worth your time, because again, you have so many other options that are tremendous. Why settle for something that sucks? Like, you and I have talked about this so many times. There is zero reason anything to get produced and be mediocre from a production value standpoint. Tales old as time, there's going to be some misfires, right? And I'm not saying that everything is and should be perfect, okay? But there is zero reason for CGI to be poor, for gaps in storytelling to exist, like obvious plot holes. That shouldn't be, there's no reason for that. The sheer volume of resources available and accessible to everybody in that process, the number of checks that happen along the way, it's absolutely exponentially larger than it was even 10, 20 years ago. And so it comes down to, do you care enough about the story that you're telling to make it as dialed in as you can from a details point of view? And when you start getting detached from the details, in other words, when you think, the details, we're just really going for a broad strokes here, the details don't matter. The details absolutely do matter. And even if you perhaps individually as that gatekeeper don't understand exactly why they matter, just make the layup and trust that, okay, this is a detail we just don't touch. This is canon. This is untouchable, where that frees you up to find the space where you can get a little more individualistic, if you want to call it that, a little more creative, right? But when you start fudging around with the canon, really what I think it comes back to is it ends up being that individual is more concerned about what they're trying to get people to really admire them. They want to have some ownership over what someone else created. It's like, I'm sorry, but you didn't make this. You just get to be a gatekeeper. You get to be a shepherd of the IP. You didn't create it. And that's okay. But we need producers and directors that recognize and are content with their role and just knock your role out of the park. And the irony is that is where you will start to gain the accolades that you desire. Like Kevin Feige, he hasn't gained his accolades from doing absurd, wild things with canon characters. He made a lot of layups. Turns out that gets you in the Hall of Fame, metaphorically speaking.
Well, retcons for the sake of retcons are never a good thing. If you're doing a retcon for a good plot twist and it makes sense and it enhances everything, great, fantastic, do it. Even get the green light from the original guy, right? Why were they not tapping into George Lucas? I get that George Lucas's writing sometimes is a little ugh. Okay, I think of Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones when it's Anakin and Padme on the island and he's complaining about sand. Anyways, terrible. That whole thing is terrible. But the rest of it, right? I mean, this is still his world and other people are now living in it. Yep. How do you not? Like Dave Filoni has talked at ends about how he would talk to George Lucas about this, talk to George Lucas about that, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
And you can tell that he genuinely wants to make the product better instead of doing something for himself. Yeah. And I agree with you. Yeah. Again, I'll say it again. Retcons, for the sake of retcons, they're never a good thing. Don't touch it. Yeah. I don't want that. If you're going to retcon something to retcon it, make your own story. Mm-hmm. That's when you're like, right. This is the time I need to make a story. This is a good idea, but it doesn't fit in this world. It's too ugh.
And the world needs new stories, right? That's part of what is so cherished about these various IPs, whether it be Harry Potter, Star Wars, the Marvel and DC Comics catalog, is like at one point, these were all new stories. They were. And so there is room, there is margin for new stories. And we're all hungry for that. And so if that's really what you want to make, go make it. Truly, go make it. You don't have to saddle yourself to something that you feel limited by. That's why I've just never really, frankly, given any merit to any of the directors that have been attached and then detached themselves from the Marvel movies and have gone, oh, well, I didn't get to make the movie that I wanted to make. Okay, then why are you making it? Just go make the movie that you want to make then.
I think of the Suicide Squad, the first one.
Jiminy Christmas. Correct.
You know what?
Came out after that movie was released. Well, this wasn't my movie. Or even like Zack freaking Snyder.
I'm going to say, it's like, it starts with Zack Snyder.
It does.
Zack Snyder started it. And I get that the heads of DC were probably like, dude, you need to cut this down or blah, blah, blah. You need to change it. I get it.
Zach, you can't actually release a 4-hour movie
you can't.
into the theaters. We're not going to go see it.
No.
We're just not. We're just not.
Look, your versions of the characters were not as good as you think they were.
Yep. Correct.
Man of Steel's not a bad movie. I still didn't like that take on Superman. Mm-hmm. Which, that's controversial.
No, but it's an alternate take.
And that's controversial.
It just generally is. Yeah.
But that was not Superman to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. This just isn't.
Again, when you make your layups, other shots, I'm just beating this metaphor to death.
No, you need to.
Other shots become available to you. And so, like with the new Harry Potter show, okay, don't cast the dude is attractive. Don't cast an attractive black guy as Severus Snape. Severus Snape is a Caucasian character. He just is. He's also not attractive. Every description of him in the books is as a not attractive person. And I'm looking at my guy, Papa here. I'm like, there's no way to make that man not look good.
Well,
he looks good.
I'm about to say, how did Harry's mom say no to that?
It's like, this guy looks good.
Oh, I saw him.
Alan Rickman, it's like, yep, I get it. Alan, you're a phenomenal thespian. You are not an attractive homeboy. You are not.
That dude's seductive. The new one is seductive. Look, I am a straight man. I love women. But that dude, I understand.
You get lost in his eyes.
A little bit.
There he is.
A little bit. You're like, oh, you're trouble for different reasons.
Right. It's just, there's music puts that actor in such an unappealing place. It's like, how can you succeed?
Right. It's a losing situation.
It sucks for him.
He's starting at a lower point, and it's not even his fault.
Right. Now, I'm going to also say this. I would very much love to be wrong. I very much love to watch this new show when it comes out and go, wow, they had a vision for this and they crushed it. That would be terrific. That's a possible outcome. The most likely outcome is not that one, however. And so that's why I'm frustrated.
I still think it's crazy they're making a Harry Potter show already.
See, my take is that they never should have made the movies. They should have, for a number of reasons, they should have always just made it into a show. Show's the best way to adapt those books. Part of the problem with making the movies is they started making the movies before the books were all complete. They just were impatient. They're like, we just want to make the monies. Anyway, that's a different, separate issue.
As a Game of Thrones fan, I understand. I want to read those books really, really bad, but I also, I want him to finish the damn things.
Yeah.
B, I know I'm going to really hate the show after reading them because there's some characters in that show that were just butchered in the show compared to the books.
Yeah. But Star Wars under Kathleen Kennedy. Like, woof, man. Make the layups.
The fact Dave and John have not been given the keys
is crazy.
Is actually insane to me.
It is crazy because think of what has been the best Star Wars content to come out since the prequels. It has had nothing to do with the, if you want to call it proper storyline, the Skywalker saga. It's like, no, it's been those that have been willing to make new stories within the confines, or within the structure, rather.
Outside of Clone Wars.
Right.
And Clone Wars still fleshed out everybody involved in that trilogy.
Exactly.
Yes.
But Clone Wars is so similar to, and we're going to get into this shortly, but think of like Rogue One and Andor.
Right.
Like that took an idea and fleshed it out, right? The Mandalorian has been incredible. The Ahsoka series, again, strong. What's been the weakest stuff? It's been the sequel trilogy that couldn't get out of its own way, didn't have a vision because all they were doing was trying to make huge bucks. They actually didn't have a story to tell. So just don't tell it.
Yeah.
Don't force it. At least George with his prequels had a story to tell. You may not think they're the best, and they're not, but they're really good. But at least the guy had a story to tell. At least he knew, here's where I'm starting, here's where I'm finishing. The sequels couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
They had no idea.
It's even crazier when you're like, they didn't think the first Star Wars movie was going to do well. Like, it's so funny to me.
My gosh.
And then they came up with Indiana Jones.
And then again, right. And then within those sequels, they take these beloved characters and essentially just invert them multiple times over. It's like that.
It doesn't make sense.
Just make the dang layup. Just present them for what they are. And when you want to do something, new and bring in a new character.
Yeah.
That's great. Do that. And then Marvel Comics. No Peter and MJ. Sir, unless you're in the Ultimate Universe, which, there you go, there's your playground. Get out of here. Yep. What are we doing? It's not the place for it. And again, it comes back to what we talked about on the previous pod of just put an end and then restart, and then you can do different things.
I think Spider-Man's even more egregious in the fact that they have two of them.
Yep.
They have Miles and they have Peter. You know, you can have Miles go through finding the love of his life instead of Peter. Yep. Peter should just be found it and be done with it.
Yep.
No, I don't care about the love portion of Peter's life. Like, I don't. I never was like, oh my gosh, who's his romantic partner in this series? Blah, blah, blah. No one cares.
No.
No one cares.
No. And again, tell new stories with new characters. So Thunderbolts, new story. Great. Andor, let's get into that. Again, new story. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this because it's an ongoing release. But what I wanted to highlight is what is fascinating to me is, has there ever been a release structure like this? So it's 12 total episodes, and all 12 episodes will be released over the span of 4 weeks. So it's 3 episodes pop.
Interesting.
4 different chapters. So chapter 1 came out last Tuesday. Chapter 2, its 3 episodes will come out on this next Tuesday. And then 3 and 4, and then it's all
That's kind of sexy, actually.
By May 13th. Right?
That's kind of sexy.
Isn't that aggressive?
I like that. Yeah, it's nice because it's like, okay, this is all together, and then, you know, I'd like the chapter idea.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And let me know how that plays out.
Yep, I will. I'll keep you posted. I appreciated this. I was reading an article, and Diego Luna, who, of course, plays Cassian in
Fantastic
Andor,
actor.
He's tremendous. Here's what I appreciated, and this is an article out of Forbes. Okay. And Diego Luna, here's the quote from the article. Luna explained to the Hollywood Reporter that since each season of Andor, and again, there's only been 2, but each season takes approximately 2.5 years to produce. So he said it would have been impossible to keep the rigor and the attention to detail that we have in this show for 5 seasons, for example. And then Diego Luna goes on to say it's the best that could happen, saying, let's have 2 seasons. Let's finish in a moment where we're all loving what we're doing. We're in love with not just the material, but the process. It hurts to say goodbye, but it's better to say goodbye this moment than when you can't keep going. I love what he said about the attention to detail. Is that not what we were just talking about?
Correct.
Like, how can you not make something well with all the resources available to you? So I love the slow pace of it. We're going to talk about the Spider-Verse movies here in a little bit. Again, taking their time. Phenomenal. Keep doing that. Don't microwave it. Don't rush it. But props to Andor. We don't know how season 2 is going to conclude, if it's going to be satisfying, dissatisfying, something in between. But I'm just so appreciative of the intentionality behind the production process. To me, it's like you're not going to have a big swing and miss. You may not have the hit that you really desired, but I think you're at least giving yourself the best possible chance to be successful. So I'm only 1 episode in so far, and it, again, looks phenomenal. Characters are back doing exactly what you'd want them to do. So a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Okay, let's move on. News. Notes. Some new things coming on the horizon. We have Maul, Shadow Lord, a new animated Star Wars show.
Badass.
Hello.
And remember when we talk about good additions? This is going to be it, baby.
Yep.
This is going to be so good.
Yep. Set to come out sometime in 2026. What month, what season, we still don't know, but Sam Witwer is returning to reprise his voice acting.
Phenomenal voice actor.
Super great. Sam, pumped to have you back. So it'll be fun to see what they do with the character of Darth Maul. They really haven't released a whole lot of intel on what the show is going to capture. So plenty of time between now and then. But that's an exciting thing to look forward to. All right, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse gets its official release date, June 4th of 2027.
Appropriate.
It has to take such a long time to make those movies. Like, the animation is incredibly unique, incredibly just dense. So, as eager as I am to see more, I'm okay. I'll wait.
Agreed.
Let's take our time. That's great.
I will wait for Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly for 2 more years.
Yeah.
As much as it breaks my heart.
Yeah, we can wait that long. Staying in the Spider realm, we had a title drop for the next Spider-Man live action movie with our guy Tom Holland. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Okay, July 31st of 2026. So next summer, we'll see old Tommy Guns suiting up.
I can't believe it's that quick.
It both feels quick, and then I think, well, it's been a piece since we've seen him.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It seems quick in the sense of, hey, they released the name of the title, and it's just a year out.
Yeah.
Right?
This is what's always irritated me about the Spider-Man portion of the MCU, and it's not the MCU's fault. It's Sony's fault for sure. But he kind of just falls in line to just like random points. Because even with the one prior, No Way Home, that one, when that was announced, it was like, okay, here's the MCU timeline. Oh, and then No Way Home's here. And it's like, okay, that's just kind of how it's been. So it's on brand.
Mm-hmm.
But is that before or after Secret Wars?
Spot.
Because that's the next question. It's got to be. It's got to be before.
Yeah, Secret Wars, May 7th, 2027.
No, that's 27? Secret Wars is 27?
Doomsday is May 1st, 2026.
Okay, so it's
after.
Right in between.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm. Why?
But okay. Whatever. I don't get it, but okay.
Yeah, there's so much we just, we don't know and won't know until we get much, much closer. Really until the calendar turns to 2026.
Jeez, those trailers are going to just be popping, dude. They're going to be back to back to back.
Very much so. It's worth noting that in case those of you had it marked on your calendar, May 2nd, 2025, again, as a reminder, Thunderbolts is coming out. It will not be seeing the Kang Dynasty movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so hat tip to a friend of the pod, Eric, who reminded us that once upon a time, not that long ago, really, Marvel in Hall H announced Avengers Kang Dynasty coming May 2nd, 2025. Turns out it's not. So just in case any of you had missed that little note in the schedule change, in title change, and character, a lot of change, really, you're going to go see Thunderbolts this upcoming weekend, not Kang Dynasty.
Tough.
Although I think Jonathan Majors is still available.
He's too. And more came out on that situation too, so I don't think he'll be back.
Tough.
Period.
Tough, bud. Yep. Goodness gracious. What's on the horizon? We mentioned earlier, hey, summer is going to be a lot of fun. I'm getting pumped because in less than a month's time, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning drops May 23rd. Yes, we're still a few weeks out. Yes, I am also getting exceptionally excited. It's going to be so much fun.
And for me, when does this movie come out? Ballerina.
Lilo and Stitch?
Ballerina. We're not seeing that remake. Remember when we talked about not giving money to things that shouldn't exist? That's one of them. No, Ballerina, John Wick. Yeah. Part of the John Wick franchise comes out June 6th.
There you go.
That's my Mission Impossible.
It's coming up.
John Wick, which is arguably way more violent. So,
not even arguably. It just is. That's great. All right, Beans, it's time for another classic JP and the Beans 5. We are going to give you our top 5 Jedi of all time. 2 weeks from now on the next pod, we will give you our top 5 Sith of all time, and then we'll bring it all together. Okay, a month from now with the top.
Well, look at you, just planning the next 3 top 5s.
You're welcome. Top 5
Can you even discuss it
characters of all time. executive powers.
No, you did kind of discuss it.
Kind of discuss it. I just made it official. So now it's out there. We can't change our minds.
That's fine.
Or maybe we can. We have all the power. So, Beans, without further ado, you go first. Who is your number 5?
My number 5 Jedi. First of all, I just want to say I'm very proud of myself. This list is strong. This list is so strong.
I'm proud of you too.
And it's probably better than your list. Anyways, my number 5 is Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson. By the way, the man who gets all the best roles in Hollywood, Qui-Gon Jinn. Who doesn't want to be... Or Qui-Gon Jinn. Liam Neeson. That's funny. They're the same person, though, so it makes sense.
Listen, he's going to be in Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Come on.
He trained Batman. He trained Obi-Wan. He trained... Well, he didn't train Anakin. He didn't get a chance to.
Well, he was freaking Aslan in the Narnia movies.
He was God. He was that universe's God.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. He's awesome. And who doesn't love Qui-Gon? Okay. And I loved his relationship with Obi-Wan. I wish we could have got more of it.
Sure.
Of course, obviously, he gets cut in half, so that gets taken away pretty quickly. But there you go. Qui-Gon, number 5. It's also very interesting because I believe there's theories, or in the books it says if Qui-Gon would have been the one to train Anakin instead of Obi-Wan, Anakin would have actually went down the right path.
That's a mean take if you're Obi-Wan. How would you like to hear that? Ouch.
Because Obi-Wan...
You lost your master, you screwed up your Padawan. That's tough.
But here's the reason...
True, but it's tough.
Here's the reason why. Because Qui-Gon saw him as a actual Padawan. Obi-Wan kind of saw him as a little brother. And that's the difference.
So Obi-Wan is the one who loved first. Interesting. Brotherly love, but love nonetheless. Huh. Okay.
I believe that's the argument.
Okay.
I could be wrong on parts of that.
All right.
But yes, Qui-Gon's my number 5.
Good number 5. Okay. My number 5, Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever pronounced her name correctly. I don't think I ever will. But Ahsoka is my number 5. I've started to, in the last year and change, watch the Clone Wars animated series with my kids. Because here's a really sad thing in my life, right? And I can't go back in time and change this, but the Clone Wars series was released at that just terrible time in a person's life where they're like, no, I'm too cool for cartoons. Well, fortunately, I grew up and realized I'm not too cool for cartoons.
I can promise you that never happened for me. Look at me. Look how I turned out. It never happened for me.
It worked well. And so being able to now, thank you, Disney Plus, dive into that series with easy access has been a delight. Her character is obviously written tremendously well. She's incredibly entertaining. It's easy to understand why she has been immensely popular, right? And it holds up. It's not just, oh, you're popular with kids. Like, no, I get it. Like, there is depth to her character. In the live action show, I really enjoyed. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the live action show with Rosario Dawson continuing to reprise the role. That's outstanding. And listen, anytime you're wielding 2 lightsabers...
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
That's not bad.
It's pretty badass.
That's not bad. I like that. So there you go. That's my number 5. Ahsoka. My number 4, speaking of lightsabers, Mace Windu. Hello, purple lightsaber. It's great. Also, it just made me wonder, how did that not happen sooner? How did it take that long? Well, you just got to have Samuel L. Jackson step into the role and
be like,
he's like,
I want to
give me a purple lightsaber. Don't give me a green lightsaber.
I want to be different.
You know what else I really enjoyed about Samuel L. Jackson when he played the role is he knew his character was going to die. He's like, I better not get stabbed in the back. He's like, I better die magnificently. I remember that coming out in interviews after the movie, and boy, did he ever. Like, he went down memorably and hard.
But it did wonders for him. Like, it was all in good, like, for the character.
Yes.
It worked so well.
Yeah. It was maybe one of just, like, the best deaths in Star Wars.
It's up there.
There's been plenty that would fight. Ooh, there's a top 5. Interesting. Top 5 deaths in Star Wars. Oh, we could have a schedule change. But anywho, Mace Windu, wisdom, power, purple lightsaber, the look, phenomenal character. And obviously he's great in the Clone Wars show as well, but that's my number 4.
My number 4.
Your number 4, sir.
A guy who got a little screen time in the movies and then gets fleshed out in the Clone Wars. Okay. My boy Plo Koon is number 4 for me. One of the best fighters in the sky. The dude gets it done. I love Plo Koon. I thought he always looked badass. Look at him. He's right there, chilling. Blue lightsaber.
Yep.
That's my guy. I won't get too much into detail outside of that. He's just a badass.
It's great.
That's mine. Number 4.
Super unique looking character.
Number 3, I have Yoda. Yoda's on number 3. Look, you gotta give the man credit. I also enjoy original trilogy Yoda when he's just talking shit to Luke the entire time. That's my guy right there. And before that, watching him be like the wise
old man.
Oh yes, absolutely. We're talking in riddles the whole time, and they're like, "What?" And then just beating the crap out of your grandkids, essentially. That is who I aspire to be.
Great.
Is Yoda. Yoda is when you think of Jedi, honestly, Yoda should be arguably number 1. He's the face of the Jedi Order as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Yoda's my number 3.
I love that. Great number 3. My number 3 is Luke Skywalker. Luke's character arc in the original trilogy is iconic for good reason. While I obviously wish that the sequel trilogy would have portrayed his character differently, I'm able to find some peace with how he was portrayed. It's like, is it the take that I preferred? Of course not. But does it still portray the character well by the end? He has a great finish to that movie. Great finish. Everything leading up to that is tough.
Just do what I do and just ignore that it happened. To me, that doesn't happen.
Right.
That didn't happen. That's not my Luke Skywalker.
Part of what I appreciate and enjoy about the character, especially based on what we learn in the prequel trilogy, in the Clone Wars series, and so on and so forth.
Mando is training Grogu for that wee bit.
Absolutely. Trains Grogu for a little bit. Is he came into the Jedi Order so late. So I love his ambition. I love his, just his straight up hopefulness. He goes through a lot in a relatively short amount of time. You may say, well, 3 movies is a lot. The dude gets put through the highs, the lows, comes out with enduring hopefulness for himself, for his dad, for the ultimate fate of the Jedi Order. And that's where the sequel trilogy really did him dirty, is it turned him from just this hopeful character into just a cranky old curmudgeon. That's not who he is. So Luke Skywalker, there you go. My number 3. Your number 3, sir. Oh no, I'm sorry. You did number 3, Yoda. My number 2.
There you go.
Number 2. Obi-Wan Kenobi is my number 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Your number 1's probably garbage. No, I'm kidding. No, go ahead. Go on. Talk about
Obi-Wan's another character that went through a ringer. Part of what was really fun for me in my lifetime was I get introduced to Obi-Wan as the old wise man that Luke Skywalker encounters in the first movie, and then he's the old wise, well, not old, but deceased, and yet really cool Jedi ghost in the second and third movies. And then you get the young Obi-Wan. And I think they really, this is hard to do, crushed the young version of Obi-Wan. I thought they portrayed him really well to the point where you can see how he would become the old wise man. So a lot of energy, a lot of ambition, a lot of eagerness. Phenomenal fighter. How can you not love that about him? He has just some of the, if not all of the best duels in the Star Wars movies. I mean, truly, he's just a duel hog in that sense. There's Obi-Wan again. It's awesome. Who cares? So Obi-Wan Kenobi is my number 2.
My number 2 is somebody you already mentioned, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
I loved Mace Windu as a kid. I loved the purple lightsaber as a kid. Whenever he enters the screen, Mace Windu, you can just feel his strength.
Yeah.
Like his power. They're like,
presence.
This is Mace frickin' Windu.
Mm-hmm.
We better pay attention here.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's great. Also, the fact that Bamf is somewhere on the hilt of that lightsaber is hilarious to me. Mm-hmm. So, for everything that you already said, building on top of that, Mace was my badass Jedi growing up. I got Mace Windu at 2.
Great pick.
Number 1.
Tell us why Obi-Wan is number
1. You already know it's Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor.
It's right there in the name.
Not even close. Everything you said, he's witty, which Love that. I love it when he just drops in. It's like, hello there.
That's rare amongst the Jedi.
And it is.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
actually
I like
enjoys, he has a good time. He enjoys being a Jedi.
Yeah.
He is out there in the thick of it.
Yep.
What else can I say about how great Ewan McGregor is? The memes.
Ewan's just incredible.
The Obi-Wan memes that we've gotten over the years. Mm-hmm. The iconic fight between him and Anakin towards the end, and he wins. Mm-hmm. He wins and leaves Anakin for dead. And you can just feel the emotion he had for Anakin.
Yeah.
I could go on and on all day about how Obi-Wan is the best, but he is a great combination of wit, humor, strength. Yeah. Like you said, that dude is a duelist at heart. You're not going to see him be using the Force all the time. He's the one, like, I'm going to beat you down with the lightsaber, and I'm going to win. And I love that. So there you go.
It's a great number one.
Obi-Wan.
I love that. My number one is Yoda. My guy Yoda, number one. Again, phenomenal character arc. The introduction to his character is so wonderful for so many reasons. First of all, it's just entertaining. It's like, who is this hilarious green alien that's just obviously bonkers? And when all of a sudden the switch flips and he goes from goofy to exceptionally sharp and wise, you realize, oh my gosh, that he was doing all that on purpose as a facade. Oh, we just had a level up here of who this Yoda character is. And so the amount of work that he is able to do in a short amount of time with Luke Skywalker is incredible. It's incredible. He doesn't have this young Padawan. He's got a headstrong, brash, naive 20-something-year-old that thinks he has all the answers, and Yoda has to not just teach him, but break him down and even allow him in some ways to be broken before Luke is willing to come back, reconnect with Yoda, and allow Yoda's wisdom to settle in and really take purchase in who he is. Prequel trilogy showed Yoda in a slightly different light, kind of like, I would say, Yoda at his peak, right? When the Jedi Order is fully fleshed out, Yoda's in a position of influence, and it's entertaining. I'm not saying it's like my favorite part of the prequels, but it's entertaining watching the little green guy bounce around. Like, I still remember sitting in the theater the first time that Yoda whipped out the lightsaber and battled Dooku. It's like, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of dang fun.
Him and Palpatine.
Yep.
And the third one on the floating
in the Senate floor.
Correct.
Yep.
I was gonna say that's the one thing I didn't bring up. Yoda's fight scenes,
they're tremendous.
They are just entertaining to watch because you're like watching him bounce around, like you said. Yeah. And he uses the Force a lot more.
Yes, very force dependent, which you gotta be when your size is that small, but just infinitely quotable. So I have zero qualms with Obi-Wan being at the top of the list. He's a worthy choice. I think it's either Yoda or Obi-Wan. I went with Yoda, you went with Obi-Wan.
I can live
that's
with
delightful.
That. I can live with that.
Great. That's great. Qui-Gon just missed my list. He would have been worthwhile being on there. I thought about having Anakin on there.
I did too, but
I just couldn't squeeze him in there. No, couldn't bump someone else off for the sake of it.
I just couldn't get the whininess out of my head.
Yep.
That was my problem with it.
Yep, he's got a lot of accomplishments.
And he didn't really live up to the Jedi Code very much. Yeah. If you think about it.
Yep. Concluded well, but a lot of roughness.
It was a roller coaster ride for old Anakin.
One character that I have yet to really get to know is Cal Kestis. Okay, in the Star Wars Fallen Order
he's chill
game. I'm very much looking forward to playing that game in the not too distant future and getting into that character, because from everything I've heard and been told, great character, great storyline. So
it's pretty fun. The first one was pretty fun.
Yeah. So there you go. There's another classic. JP and the Beans top 5. Beans. Anything else for the good people before we bring it home?
We're wrapping it.
I love it.
We're wrapping it up right here. Take us right now. Y'all, if you love this, subscribe. You're already listening to it. So yeah, Magic Beans Production on
so much.
YouTube.
You bet.
And with that, Godspeed.
Peace.